Evening, gents.
How you doing?
Thanks for joining me. I just thought it'd be good for all of us to have a bit of a catch-up with management, see how players are doing, see how you guys are doing, just getting your thoughts, really, and kind of working out what's going on in the future, because it's so up in the air at the moment. So we've put a message out there for the fans and people on our social media. We've got a couple of questions at the end, but there's a couple of main questions I want to ask just early doors, because I think everyone wants some answers, really. The first one, I'll throw your way, Tone. I've got them all written down here. So have you been in contact with the squad during lockdown? And if so, how's everyone kind of doing? How are they all holding up?
Yeah, we've been in contact with them. So we've been doing every Tuesday night I've been doing Zoom calls. So we've been doing various different things, quizzes and little games. But also me and Vinesy have phoned all the players individually as well, just to have some brief chats with them. To check up on them, to make sure it's all good and everyone's healthy, and obviously with their mindsets as well, so it can be quite tricky. So we've checked in with everyone, and then also done the Zoom calls with a bit of fun and had a bit of banter with that, and that's gone down really well. We've had some good cracks on here with that. In terms of how is everyone? As far as we know, everyone's good. No one's reported that they've.
You still do the numbers? Because I know when you turn up the players turn up at the game, Ali's got the numbers, and they kind of say how they're feeling. I've always wondered, is that just physically or is it mentally as well on the day?
I think that's Vines. You can answer that one. That's very much easy.
Yeah, with the well-being pill. I don't want to be too deep, right? But the actual physical and mental well-being piece is quite important to us. It's a bit of a secret weapon that we've had these last few years, where we ask for a score as they walk through the door. How do they feel? You know, and what we see in that is trends. If they've got a particularly low score to what we're used to, then we would question that, because we only have a very small period of time with the players. So it doesn't enable us to really go around to everyone saying, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? Mm-hmm. It's a quick fire opportunity for us to look at their immediate well-being. For a good example would have been, Mitchell Nelson had a period of time where he was really struggling because he had 2 young children under the age of 3, and both his boys didn't sleep. So, we would say to Mitchell, what's your score out of 10? Or Ali would say that to him. And then he'd be saying, I'm a 3. I'm so tired. I haven't got enough sleep. So we allowed him to turn up for the games later, so he could have an extra half an hour in bed. So it's just our way of trying to manage their well-being in the limited time that we've got. We've not continued that, at the moment, because we're not expecting them to perform.
Yeah.
But what we are doing, we are obviously asking them about their general health, their mental health. It's a big word, it's a big statement, but everybody's got mental health, not necessarily mental health issues, but everybody's having to deal with mental health at the moment, particularly with the restrictions that we've been under. So it's challenging times, stressful. There's anxiety, but we spoke to the guys, and there are those that are doing really well. There are those that are seeing this as an opportunity of a bit of a break. I think Tone feels that way himself. And Nate's been sort of going hell for leather with his fitness and stuff. So it's good. It's a good opportunity for others like me. I've been locked down with 3 kids. I'm sort of. Have you seen Shawshank Redemption? I'm like that. I've got a spoon. I'm sort of tunneling my way out.
Have you put a poster up in the bathroom? Hide the hole.
I've got Raquel Welch up on the wall, and I'm just spooning it out, bit by bit each day. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
What's been good though? We've spoke to the players individually, and obviously we're on a group as well, and we do chat in here. But speaking to the players individually, they're all ringing each other. They're really close as a group. Yeah. So you'll see, I spoke to Grant, and he's been speaking to Charlie Allen, and they've been helping each other out with a couple of little bits, and Luke Carey with Grant as well, and Jay Leader and Barney, so Denty, and they're all interlinked, and they're all ringing each other, and we met the boys on Saturday for a brief chat, and
individually and socially distanced.
Yeah, we did. We went out, we give them different slots, and we just sat away from them. And I spoke to Ali, and I said about Ben, and she said, "Yeah, I've been speaking to Ben." So it's just everyone's been keeping in contact with everyone. We have a catch up as a group on a Tuesday, and we're in a little group, but it's quite nice to hear that they're all ringing each other and keeping in contact themselves. And I think that's kind of what we bred in them, in a sense that we try to make them really close. And it's nice that when we've not influenced it, they're still doing it off their own backs, which tells us obviously what we're trying to create is obviously working.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember early doors when I got reintroduced again doing the media management for Cray. I remember pulling you aside and just saying, literally everyone has welcomed me in with open arms. Everyone's asking how I am, if I can help them with kind of side projects, etc., etc. And I just remember you saying, we don't like bad eggs. If there is a bad egg, they go. And it's simple as that. And it's just, testament to the management for kind of getting a team together that can keep that up during a bloody pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, I think there'll be a theme to what I'm about to say. We try to keep everything really simple, and this side of it is quite simple. We've talked about this, that we're all there to achieve the same thing, and that is to be successful. And you ain't going to do that individually. If you go out individually and think it's about you and just try to be about you, it will only take you so far. But when you're collective and there's 20, 30 of us all pulling in the same direction, we're a strong beast, and we've been successful on the back of that. So no one thinks they're better than anyone else. No one thinks their station is any higher than anyone else. And, we make sure that our dressing room is a really good dressing room. If you walk into our dressing room as a player or as a kit man or as a media man, you are walking in as one of us, and you're just on the same level as everyone, and you're going to make us better. So we're going to make sure. But that's how we try to breed it. They're trying to make us better. If a new player comes in, let's go out of our way to make him feel really welcome. The quicker he settles down, the quicker he can bring what he can bring, and we can be better on the back of what he's going to do. And that goes for everyone. So it's just nice to see them when we've not. Obviously, we push that. We do push that. But when me and Vinesy and Nathan have not pushed that this summer, and we're getting feedback that they're ringing each other, it tells us obviously we're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're talking about the squad, so that kind of nicely goes into the second question, and it's, do you have any kind of squad updates? Any of the players changing or going, or?
Yeah, I mean, we're very honest as a management team. We're consistent with that, good, bad, and indifferent. We are really, really honest, and we want to be honest. We want to be honest the whole way through. I just see Vinesy getting in here.
Cheers, mate. Thank
you. We've continued that thing. So what we've not done is, we see a few clubs out there. Yeah, they've signed this player. They're lying. There is no forms out there. You can't.
They come out this week, didn't they? The forms come out this week, but
yeah. So all these people are saying they're signing period. They're lying. They haven't signed anyone. You can't sign anyone. No one knows when it's going to start, so you can't even do a contract from the start date to an end date. So we've chosen to not go down that road. What we've done is we've spoke to the players, and as soon as the season finished, I spoke to Wrighty and I said, look, how are we looking for next year? Obviously, he said straight away, listen, we need to let the dust settle. No one really knows what's going on. So he come back to me in a few weeks and he told me the state of play, and, the club was not immune to this, the effects of this, just like every other club. And it had affected us in terms financially. But he just said that the club was working hard to get that back up to a level where we would know what we could play with. So we've not actually 100% known what we've got. So what we've decided to do is be really honest with the players, completely tell them what the situation is, and then speak to them all and say, the boys we want to keep you. We can't talk to you about or offer you forms or anything because we haven't got them. We can't ultimately 100% give you a figure of what we can give you because we've got a rough idea. We give them a rough idea. But understand that this is the information we're getting from the club, and we're just going to pass it on to you. We're not even going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to gamble with that and just give you a figure randomly, because ultimately we could all be playing behind closed doors next year. Now, for us, it wouldn't make so much of a difference, but some clubs, they rely on that. But yet they've offered people money on the back of not really knowing, and we're not going to go down that road. Me and Vinesy phoned players individually, and we've spoke to them as a collective, and everyone we've asked to come back have said that they want to come back. There's not one player who's turned around to us and said, no. We had one of our players, a club in the league below, offered him a silly amount of money, which we were a little bit shocked at because, we thought we had a decent relationship with the manager, or I did personally, but obviously, clearly not. And that's not happened. So he wants to stay. And there's another player who's getting a lot of interest because of what he done last year, but he's telling us that he wants to stay. So we've asked for honesty, because we said to the players that if you want to leave, then leave. We want you to stay, but our train will always move on. People that thought when we lost Bluey, we wouldn't be able to go and find a goalkeeper. We could do what Bluey did. When Shaggy got injured, how can we find a link man that can score goals? We did that. We love the boys. We want them to stay, but no one will hold this club to ransom. We want them to be part of it. We feel we're not even got started yet in what we're trying to do. We want them to be part of that. We've invited them onto that. So far, they've all said they wanted to do that. Brilliant. Because what we're getting, me and Vinesy, we're getting phone calls from players of a higher level.
I mean, like you were saying, you guys have got a lot on your plate. You've got to be honest with the players and hope they're honest back. And I mean, I can vouch for the complete transparency with just all of you lot. No one's ever kind of told me one thing and done the other. Your word is your word. So obviously you've got a lot on your shoulders normally, let alone what's been going on during the lockdown and stuff. Nath, I'll chuck this at you. And then the guys can jump in with their opinions as well. But what's it been like as a management group with football just like stopping pretty much overnight?
Strange is probably the best word to describe it. Because we were just in that period where we just didn't know what was going on. Obviously, we had, I think it was the Cheshunt game, and then that was called off, and then we were training, and then I think it was announced in that week. So for a 2 or 3 week period when it was sort of bubbling up, no one knew what was going on. And it sort of alludes back to what Tone said about going forward. We still don't quite know what's going on. Obviously, it was announced that the season was finished, which I think is fair to say that we were disappointed because of the position we're in. We don't think it was the right or wrong decision, but the position we got ourselves in, especially kind of the back of not losing in 2020, that was disappointing.
You can still say that.
Yeah. We could say that you can go the whole year unbeaten.
But obviously, since it stopped, it's been quite nice to step away from it, because obviously at a higher level it was a lot more intense, and we was having more and more conversation on the phone. We was also getting excited because we thought there's a real possibility we could do something at the end of the season. And it's just, obviously we kept in touch with the players, and I think we've all enjoyed what we've had in terms of the Zoom calls. We've had fancy dress on the Zoom calls. We've had dances. We've had the a lot we probably couldn't show you. But yeah, as frustrating, weird, it's been quite enjoyable as well.
Good. Vinesy?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the beauty of football is my distraction away from my everyday life. So, I've got a business that I'm trying to grow. I've got a young family. So football is a very welcome distraction at times. So not having that, it's been very uncertain times business-wise. So that's been difficult. All my kids have been off school. So as much as I've used the extra time that I've had in a good way, I've done a hell of a lot of work on my UEFA B certification, because that's a lot, it's very paperwork driven these days. So that's pretty much done, ready for that to go. I've done a talent identification certification via the FA, which I don't know if that's any good or not, but it's another
So
ticking
what
the
is that,
box.
Vinesy? So you can go.
It allows me to recognise and scout football players that are suitable, that are good players. It allows me, within the framework that the FA have decided to put into place, for me to identify what a good player looks like. This is just the official take. I always felt I was quite good at that anyway.
Yeah.
But now it's been proven. I've got a certificate that I can stick on my fridge. And I've just done bits and pieces. With Tony and Big Vic. For those that don't know, Vic, he's the chief opposition scout. I've built out a scouting network. We've created a database of players that we're working to use as we move forward, so we can try and unearth some gems. So we're working. All the good stuff is still happening. There's just no medal at the end of it at the moment.
Yeah. And Tone, what about you? What was it like when football just kind of stopped overnight?
I think anyone in football will tell you when the season ends anyway, there's always that bit after, like for about a week, you don't really know what you're doing with yourself. You're at home, but you think you should be somewhere, but you're not. It's a weird thing. So obviously, I'm someone who gets in from work at 5:30, 6:10. I'm out the door Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, either watching a game or coaching or whatever it may be. So I'm out the house 22 hours a week. So to suddenly just go, and my work's exactly the same. My work just sort of said, there's nothing going on. So for 3 weeks, I've said complete cut off from football and work. And I was just at home, just sitting on the sofa thinking, what am I supposed to do? It's weird. It's like a weird thing. You think you should be doing something or should be somewhere. You're constantly thinking, well, I should be doing something. And you almost feel guilty for just sitting down. So I had that for the initial bit, and I ended up just decorating the whole house. Just went on a paint frenzy and just started just doing stuff. And then I spoke to Wrighty sort of a couple of weeks in, and he sort of just said to me, I was ringing him, I wanted information, what's the budget for next year? And he sort of said to me, Tony, I don't know. I need time. So just forget football for a couple of weeks. Just give me time to, get hold of what needs to be. So he told me that, and it was for the first time in probably the 9 years I've been doing football, I just stopped thinking about football. It was weird. I was just doing painting or whatever, but my phone wasn't going off. I wasn't really talking about football. I didn't have nothing to do. So sort of midway through that, I sort of just remember thinking to myself that I needed that. Sort of 2 weeks into it, I remember thinking I felt differently. My brain was working differently. I felt clearer. I felt more refreshed. I thought, okay, this is because we have the off season and everyone has it, but you're always doing stuff. You always got to meet a player or meet the squad or organise a pre-season game or speak to the club about the budget or your personal deals, and they all come with their own little dramas within that. So you're constantly having to do something. It's a lesser pace. You're not nowhere near as busy as you are during the season, but you're still doing this. To suddenly not do anything for 3 weeks, it just made me realise that I probably I needed this break. I remember speaking to Vinesy in the car just before Christmas. I remember saying to him, "Look, mate, this might be me done at the end of the season." Just because looking back now, I was just frazzled. I was just tired. I just stopped enjoying football. I'd finish the game, get in the car, go home, finish training, get in the car, go home. Just got in. I just did it for the sake of it. I'd got in from work, see the kids, have something to eat, go out and watch a game. I'd watch the bare minimum, Nath would laugh if, Nath's come to watch games with me. We'd go and watch a game and I'm 15 minutes in, I've seen what I've got to see, I'm gone. Where Nath would you don't want to just watch the game? I'm like, no, I don't want to watch the game. So it become I was just sort of doing what I had to do. The enjoyment wasn't there for me. It was just, it's something I had to do because I wanted to get them 3 points at the end of the week. So, and the moment I've got them 3 points, I was in my car home because I've done it. And I think you lose track of why you did it in the first place, because when you don't have it, you sort of miss it and you think, well, do you know what? I actually did football my first season and a half at Erith Town for no money. In fact, it was actually costing me money. I was putting the goals out, I was putting the dugouts out. I put so much time into it for nothing. But why did I do that? Because I enjoyed it. That's why I did it. And I think when you take a back seat from it and you look at it and you think, well, you know, what are you doing it for? What are you doing it for? And you've got to line them up to go with, you know, success, or if there's any financial gain from it or whatever, but it's got to be in line with enjoying it. And I think the balance wasn't there for me, and it becomes more of a, like getting up for work every day. You know, in your job, you just get up and you go to work and you do your job and you come home, and football was starting to become a little bit like that. And I don't know, you know, if we hadn't had this break, whether I'd had time to, because you see managers, they'll quit a job, and then a couple of months later they'll do an interview going, right, I'm now ready to get back into football. And I used to think, oh, why didn't you have that 2 months ago? Why are you suddenly, I'm now ready? I never got it, but now I get it, because when you're out of work, I've never been out of work, so when you're out of work and you haven't got nothing to think about, it allows you to chill out and switch your brain off and go.
Big old reset. Yeah, I mean, thankfully then, all three of you can take something positive out of something hugely negative in the world. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I think touching on what Vinesy's done as well, it's something we've done, that every summer we've looked to improve off the pitch. We've always looked to come up with something different, whether it's video in the games or training facilities or equipment or whatever it may be. And then when we had this time, me and Vinesy started talking. We spoke about the player profile stuff, but also taking on more scouts and creating a 1 to 11 of a Cray team. And what do they look like? You know, what does a Cray centre half look like? What all the attributes we're looking for? What does a fullback look like? What does the three midfielders, the holding, the box to box, the attacking, what do they all have to have? What are we looking for? So we can give these scouts these bits of paper to say, on your travels, if you see one of these players that fits in this mode, you report to us and we will go out and watch them. So we've created that database along with every player in our league database, the stats, what foot they kick with. So if a player moves, we can keep an eye on the movements of them. We're also looking to have a better network to get in better players and have people got more eyes out on a Saturday than we've ever had, but also eyes going out knowing what we're looking for.
And it falls into, you know, when, like Tony was saying, he's right. You know, he had a tough period and was obviously tired. And sometimes it's not physically tired, it's mentally tired, like we spoke about earlier on. You know, he's talking about being frazzled, and the reason behind that, and he knows this in no uncertain terms, is because he does too much. So what we're trying to build out here is a way that we can make it sustainable and we can delegate out our work. And the problem is we're control freaks, all of us. So, you know, you go, well, who's going to do this? Oh, I'll do it. Well, I'll do it. Now, which is great because you're trying to achieve perfection. But what you're actually doing is you're digging yourself, or you're creating a workload for yourself that is not sustainable long term. So if we can build out this network of trusted, people around us that we can then delegate that work to, knowing that we're giving them all the ingredients to be successful, then in turn it makes us successful in the long term. So we're just trying to prepare for that and be a little bit more sensible about, you know, because otherwise we'll be, I had a full head of hair when I started here, you know. No, never.
There'll be managers watching this from various different levels if they want to watch it. You can do it different ways. A lot of managers, I'll go out on my travels every week. I'll go and watch a game every week, at least once, sometimes two. I very rarely see other managers out. Very rarely do I bump into them. A lot of managers don't do it. They just don't. So you can do as little, as much as you want as a manager. You can just do your training sessions and your games and then back your team against the other team. I'm different. I want to leave no stone unturned. So I want to watch that team. I want to know everything about them. I want to be fully prepared. So my training session on a Wednesday, the prep work is nailed on what formation they're playing, what their dangers are, how we're going to do that. And then I can walk away on Wednesday night in my head thinking we are ready. But the problem with that is, what comes with that is you've really got to put. I think, me and Kate was speaking, I'm putting sort of 22 hours a week in football, and just to get to that point where I feel satisfied on a Saturday that I've done everything I can. And what me and Vizzy spoke about is, it's all about, if I get 2 years down the line and we're successful and I'm frazzled again, then I'm going to end up walking away from football and then being that person who's on Twitter going, I'm now looking for a club. I don't really want to do that. So it's all about, like he's saying, is trusting people. The two people on your screen are probably the only two people I do trust in football. So I don't really do it. We've got scouts that go out, and I'll go out and watch it myself, even though I've got a report in front of me. It's something that I've got to work on, and something that I've got to improve on, because otherwise I'm going to be in and out of the game, jumping from club to club, because I can't sustain it for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, I think you're preaching to the choir there, Tone. I mean, everyone is hardworking and pushes to strive for perfection and get whatever they're doing at a high level. So, I mean, I personally, as Viney's saying, he's losing his hairs. I'm getting all my greys coming through because
distinguished.
I've got mine in a ponytail.
Yeah. No, it's great, but in that tone, me hearing 22 hours, I know you're saying this reset has allowed you to kind of realise reignite that passion. All I'm hearing in 22 hours of work a week from football alone, I see that as passion. But I'll move on to the fourth question. Nath kind of briefly touched up on it, so I might just jump back to you, Nath. What are your thoughts on how the season concluded? I mean, I was a bit gutted, but I don't know if that's the be-all and end-all. What, do you know anything about what's happening?
I think Tone knows more than me in terms of what's potentially happening. Obviously, nothing's been announced yet. Listen,
That's a real person.
There's a lot. There's a lot more important things in life than football, and I think if you look at the numbers across the world and in the country, there's no way that the season could have continued. Whether it could be stopped and started again, that's not up to us to decide. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Obviously, like I said a minute ago, it was quite obvious that we were in a good position, and we were excited about what we could potentially do with the rest of the games we had. But I think as a group, we're quite quick, and especially the people in this chat now, we're very quick to just move on from stuff. We'll sort of immerse ourselves in anger, frustration, whatever it is for a day after a game. But by the time, for example, if we lose on a Saturday, by the time Monday comes around, yes, we'll address it and we'll talk about it. But by then it's, all right, we've dealt with that now, let's move on. And Wednesday's quite relaxed again. And that's just the attitude we're taking with this, mate. We are, disappointed, because of where we are, sorry. And I think it's important to what we have done is use this time really well. Yes, we've switched off, like Tone said, for 2 or 3 weeks, but we have used that time wisely, and we're probably ahead of where we could have been if we only had the standard 6 or 7 weeks off.
Yeah.
About the season ending, the only thing I was really frustrated when the decision came out, and it wasn't because of the decision. The fact they didn't avoid the season, that's fine. They had a decision to make. My biggest thing was that, having done that, you're going to have to be consistent across all the leagues then. If that's what you're going to do, if the government, if the FA, if I get sent off and I appeal it, I've got to go to the FA and I have to pay fines paid to the FA. If they have a rule change where someone's got to do 8 kick-ups before the ball moves forwards, we would have to coach that because the FA have said. Now, what I couldn't work out is that they left it up to the leagues to decide, the individual leagues. So you've got step 3 doing none and void, and you're going to have step 2 and 1 doing promotions and relegations and points per game. And then the EFL have said that if they can't conclude the league, they're going to do points per game. So that's what annoyed me, even before they did it, because I knew it was going to come. I knew they would make that decision, and that wasn't going to be. There's no way on this earth that the Football League are part of a chain. We're going to have no promotions and relegations. It's just stupid. So my question is that if we are part of this chain and we are part of the FA, why aren't you treating us the same? That's what upset me.
It's a liberty. I think there's no bones about it. Forget us. Realistically, we just positioned ourselves. We just got to that stage where we were in second. So, you know, whether it went to points per game, we would have got promoted on that basis. But I must admit, I didn't, you know, I wasn't crying in my cornflakes about it. I was more concerned about my elderly relatives at that point. But how they've handled it, I think, has been really bad in terms of the disjointed approach. So, like Tony says, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, all they really care about, the FA, is the Premier League, because that's the cash cow. That's being pushed back, and it's more to sort of avoid any potential lawsuits from Sky TV and, you know, sponsors, etc., etc. You know, realistically, when you get to our level, not enough people care. You know, certainly not in the seats of power. You know, and there's a lot of teams that are in a worse position than us. You know, Jersey, I'm trying to think what they're called. What they call Jersey Bulls or something. They've got a good name. They won their league. They're promoted. You know, they've won it. It's done, and that's been snatched away from them. I think it's a liberty. I think it's an absolute liberty. But we're nobodies in this. You know, our voices are not heard. You know, Hastings were having a good run and they were at the top of the league. Whether they would have won it or not, I don't know. But, you know, we feel aggrieved. You know, I'm sure Hornchurch and Folkestone would have felt pretty strongly that they should have had an opportunity to be in and around it as well. But it is what it is. You can't dwell on it too much. You know, once the decision is made, you just have to move on. And I think we've done that pretty well. We've not really spoken about that issue too much. We've had to get our heads down and you know, worry about when football might start again, and when it does, that we're ready for it.
Yeah, well, I like telling my mates that keep stressing over stuff is try and control the things you can control. There's no way you can control any of this stuff. It's not your decision to make. So just try and crack on with the info you've got.
It's like trying to keep a handle on Dominic Cummings, mate. You can't. Some things are just better left to their own devices.
He's chucking out his political views.
Yeah, it's not political chat, mate. It's not political chat.
So we've spoken about how the season ended. What are your thoughts on the season starting? Do you know if there's any dates? Is there anything being thrown around? Because I personally, I've got no idea.
Well, it depends on the next set of restrictions being lifted, I suppose, because as it stands, you can meet in a group of 6 people. So, you know, with regards to grassroots football, you can coach 5 people and the coach. You have to observe social distancing. You know, but if you're outside, the risk of transmitting the virus is lessened. So, you know, all we can do at the moment is, you know, stick to whatever the government is telling us. I would imagine on a week by week basis that will evolve and that will change. But we're hopeful that we might be in place to at least train, not necessarily, you know, to be preparing for a season to be started, because there's all sorts of issues with regards to fans being, you know, jammed together. You know, we're not going to face that issue ourselves, but, you know, what does it look like? You know, what does social distancing look like in a football crowd? You know, and when do they get to the stage where they're comfortable that people are allowed to be jammed in a stadium together? So these are the bigger questions that we just don't have the answers to.
I mean, for me, I think there's only 2 things they're going to do next year. I think they'll either wait till the vaccine comes out, and they're saying it's going to be after Christmas, you're looking around January time, or they will start maybe a little bit later, end of August or, you know, early September, and play it behind closed doors, or some sort of percentage of your ground. Like, you can only allow 10% of your ground in. And I think they're the only 2 that they could possibly do. I don't see no other way around it. It's suddenly not going to disappear in the next couple of months. It's going to be lingering until there's a vaccine available. The only workaround is you do it behind closed doors or massive social distancing on the terraces. Say, for instance, your ground holds 1,000 people, you're only allowed 100 people in, no more than 100. And that's my point, what I was trying to make earlier. If they bring that in, what does that look like for wage bills in non-league? I think that changes a lot, and that's why I'm a little bit confused as to why how clubs can go round offering deals on the back of not really knowing what we're going to do. And it'd be interesting to think if they go down that road, there'll be a lot of clubs that won't be able to do it and they'll refuse to do it.
This is the other factor, is it? You know, the other thing worth considering is the splitting of the leagues, because if, you know, there's a conversation being had at the moment with regards to League Two and the National Conference Premier being amalgamated or at least being split regionally. You know, so what does that mean with regards to some of the clubs that are in the mix at the moment? Do they say, well, actually, we're stepping out, and will that then mean other clubs will step into their place? So I think there's a little bit of moving and shaking that will happen before then, because of clubs that, you know, simply won't be able to survive during this period. The infrastructure that they've got in place won't support them, and then there will be, based on the decision of the FA and how they look to, you know, get the best possible outcome for all clubs involved, what that will mean at a regional level. You know, I believe that it will mean that, you know, you'll have to look at players that are based much closer to you, because people won't want to travel, because the money won't be as much. But it's all, you know, it's yet to be seen.
Yeah, again, it's like I'm asking questions that no one knows the answers to, which is a frustrating thing. But I think if you're still positive and you've got clear goals and you're keeping yourself busy with the science behind the football, there's positive things in there that you can try and take away. Tone, we was on the phone the other day and you mentioned something about an open week. I think it'd be interesting for you to kind of talk about that, and like, what's the reason behind it? What's the concept of an open week? Well,
the reason why, first of all, is Ryan's been on about it for probably a year or so now, about doing something like this. But what more done it with me is that we've been getting phone calls from players, really good players. I mean, as I say, one of them, I remember watching him a couple of years ago at a really high level and thinking, God, I'd love to work with this guy. He just phoned me out of the blue, saying that he wants to come to us. And there's another
where was you, Tom, when he rang you? Where was you, mate?
I was on the golf course, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I was on the golf course.
He's socially distancing.
Yeah, obviously. It goes without saying, mate. You know,
he was in the rough.
He was socially distancing from the hole.
Yeah. You haven't seen me play golf, have you? I'll go left and right. I'll social distance from everyone. But there's also another really good player who we really like, played against us for a few years and caused us all sorts of trouble. He's phoned up and said, look, can I come down in pre-season and have a look at me? So it just got us thinking that we are quite a closed book as a management group. We're not really out there. We don't really big on social media about banging on what we're doing and how we do it, and we're just quite a closed book. And that's what the feedback that me and Vinesy got from someone said, that as a management group we're quite a closed book, we're quite secret squirrel. We don't announce signings, we don't do a big fanfare, we just get on and do it. But that sometimes can mislead people to that we're just some sort of like little clique. So what we wanted to do is just say that once we know when we're going to go back, maybe go back a couple of weeks earlier and just have an open week. I'm reluctant to call it a trial, because I don't want anyone to come down to feel they need to impress me. But how many more players are out there of really good standard that would like to play for Cray Wanderers? I don't know. So what I'm saying is, if we open our doors for a week and we'll say, look, we'll do a Tuesday, Thursday and a Saturday, have a little game on a Saturday. If anyone wants to come down, whether they want to use it to get some extra fitness, whether they want to use it to say, look, have a little look at me, I might be interested in it. Just for that reason. So we've got the ground, we've got a lovely pitch, like a carpet at Flamingo Park, as you know. We've got all the facilities, so let's do it. Let's open our doors up, put it out in social media. Anyone wants to come down for a week, come and see what we're doing. And as I say, use it whatever way you want to use it, whether you want it for extra fitness or whether you are one of these people that would like to play for us, and it might be that player that we've always admired and go, we'd be really keen to get him in, especially with what's going on in non-league football. There's a lot of players that still got a lot of outstanding money owed to them. There's lots of stuff going on at the moment. There's a lot of disgruntled non-league players going on. So I think it's going to be a strange old summer. So why don't we just have an open week? And I don't want to, as I say, it's not a trial. We're not treating it like that. We're just going to be open and be an open book and open up our facilities, and Nathan, Vainsy and myself coaching, and then have a week where we just enjoy it and then go from there.
Yeah,
Vainsy, have I missed anything on that, Vines? Are you happy with that?
No, I think that's spot on. I mean, like I said, the difficult thing is it's always going to get labelled as trial. You know, it feels that way. But what we're looking to do is just, you know, open the doors a little bit. You know, take a look at, you know, what goes on behind. You know, because we have had that feedback that we're a little bit of a closed book, and you know, we're all, like Tony said, secret squirrel, and you know, I wonder what goes on. It's like, you know, peeking through that neighbour's window that's always got the curtains drawn. But actually, we're just so concentrated on what we're doing that we don't tend to worry about what everyone else is doing. And I think maybe that, you know, we might give off that like air of, you know, being a little bit shut off and a little bit, you know, fully focused on our own house. But you know, maybe that's true.
I can vouch for that. I mean, when I got involved again, it was, yeah, you put everything out there, but don't do set plays. Don't tell anyone about who we're signing. Don't do this. And so I learned very quickly that I had to get approval before I kind of put a message out there. But then it started to get where you guys were like, hold on a minute. You're not putting anything negative out. We're always kind of painted in a positive light. I'm not looking to upset anyone. So we then started kind of allowing the odd set play in the videos to go up and stuff. And I mean, this conversation that you guys have said about kind of being a bit more open, you've said that to me probably a month or two before lockdown. So this ain't just a sudden thought. This is there's a lot of thought gone into this.
Yeah, there's a fine line between showing off and letting out all your trade secrets. Yeah.
We're not really ones to go around talking about it. We just do it. That's it. Just do it. Like, talk about it after. Don't talk about it before, or have this big fanfare about. And I know, like, when you come in, you want, you know, let's do that. And I was like, no, let's not. Let's just tone it right down and don't do that. Let's not draw attention to ourselves. I like to go under the radar, and when people realise about it, it's too late. You're gone. I think that's the best way to go about it. And I think we'll leave it. The good thing is there's always going to be managers and players and hyping their team up, and it's brilliant. Every summer we see it, and we just let them talk and let them.
Well, a prime example is if you were to look at the Isthmian Premier League predictions. You know, who's going to finish in the top 5? You know, throughout that league. You know, we were never mentioned. And we were sort of, we weren't chuckling about it, but we was like, you know, it was just a wry smile to go, look, you know, no one is even worried about us. And then that's what makes it beautiful. That, you know, I think that will change. You know, I think people will be worried about us.
We won the league the year before. There was a big fanfare about other teams in our league and what they'd done and who they signed and what they were going to do. And we didn't. I remember Martin ringing us saying, can we put anything up about signings? Like, people want to know. And I said, no, we didn't put anything up. The first time people see our team sheet is on the first game of the season. They don't need to know who we've got, and they'll find out in due course. You don't need to lend people information. And that's very much how we are. But, like I say, with the feedback we have got, is we're probably a little bit too private and a little bit too close. Hence why we're looking to try to be a little bit better this year and open it up and just say, look, come down. And if you just want to come down and have a few free training sessions, then come down and have a few. There's no drama on it. It's just open our doors. Something could be plus we're getting phone calls from really good players that wanna be part of us. So we're saying, okay, well, who else is out there? I mean, there might be a player in 2 leagues below who thinks he's way below his level, then. And he wants to come and train and do bits. So, okay, then do that then. It's just a nice, relaxed one. There's no pressure on it. There's no title as such. That's why we called it just an open week, because we're trying to be open. So we just thought we'd stick that on it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a good start as well, like getting your thoughts on what's going on, because realistically, this is seeing people in grids on their screen is the new normal, which I hate, but I mean, like, we're being proactive in lockdown. I've got a couple of questions from social media. First one actually comes from our kit man, Adrian. He said, Since Junior Dadson's departure, have any of the players laid claim to his title of the Cray Pele?
Cray Pele.
Nath, you up? Nath, I think that's one for you, mate.
First of all, Junior was a great lad. I think he's one of the most liked people in the dressing room.
Great guy.
Longest in the shower.
And we spoke about the list we've created ever since I've known Tone for, I think it's 7, 8 years. He's always spoken about this list, and it's just on a Microsoft Word at work, I think he said. And he was on there. When we was looking for a winger, he was like Tone's #1 target. When Junior came in, Junior done everything we saw. But every other player that we've worked with, we've just got an extra 10% of him, a 10% out of him, but in our framework. I think Junior does Junior. And what he does is fantastic. And you probably won't find another player, especially at sort of this level of football and the level below, what he does, as good as what he does. But when a player comes in to our bubble, we call it, you've almost got to conform. You'll get your freedom. Tone will put players in positions, and he'll show them. But I just think I think Junior is very much a free spirit, and Junior does what Junior does. In terms of the new Cray Pele, I think we're very blessed to have. I think last year we finished with 3 or 4 really, really talented wingers. You know, Feds is again one of the most liked players in the dressing room. Lightning quick. Will spins man down the side and just give it to JT for a tap in. Rawley obviously struggled with work, battering ram, do anything for you, run through brick walls. Joel come in and give us a sort of different dynamic where we could go drifting inside, or we could get one as defender 1v1, and you know, look at his goal at Worthing, span the guy and tucked it in the bottom corner. And obviously we signed Reece quite just before. Obviously, the season finished, and Tone will probably allude to it more than me. Tone alludes to it more than me. We've probably seen 50-60% of what Reece is about. And again, this is someone else that's come from Tone's list. I haven't watched him before, but you can see his quality. You know, I think he's very 2-footed, fantastic finisher. Anytime we do shooting at training or in the warm up, I think the first game I'm sort of looking at Tone going, kid can finish Tone, and he sort of just give it this one. List, mate. So in terms of a Cray Pele, I think that's a strong statement, but you know, we're excited with the group we've got to work with. Yeah.
Apart from yourself, obviously, no.
He's always excited. That's his excited face.
Did Pele take free kicks, or was that just my free kicks?
Well, I reckon if he did the crossbar challenge, he would have done it earlier than you did.
I think we'll talk about that later, because Vinesy's giggling to himself like he's
I don't know what you mean, mate.
Ain't even hit it yet.
I think on that though, honestly, if Reece is with us next year, I think Reece will very much fit that bill. Because there is lots more to come from him. He's shown glimpses, he's done really well already. But if you look at JT and you look at Colsey when they joined us halfway through the year, the second season, i.e. this season, is when their levels have gone. And that's because where Junior, we probably didn't get the better out of juniors, because we're a management team that coach with and without the ball. So everyone's got jobs to do without the ball.
Quite rigid, isn't it?
And then with the ball, we'll put you in areas, and then it's up to you with your ability. And I think Junior sometimes struggled with that in terms of thinking about it probably too much. But a fantastic player, one of the best finishers I've ever worked with, Junior Dadson. Genuinely 2-footed, quick, powerful, just a great guy as well. But Reece, I think if he's here next year on the back of the sessions we've already done with him, and then we've got all pre-season with him, I honestly think he will be a top player for Cray next year if he stays next year, which he tells us he loves it. He's telling us all the right things. He's dying to stay, but I think the fans are in for a treat, because I think he'll do some exciting things.
As we like to call him, Reece Russell.
Yeah, he does get a bit of banter from the boys because
and Vinesy.
Yeah.
More.
I'm excited because I know what's coming, and I keep saying it to the players that you haven't seen it yet. I know what's coming. He's been on my list for about 4 years now. I just have lists of players. JT was on that list, and Junior was on the list. I just come across players, I write them down, and I think one day you're going to play for me. And he was on that list. So when we get him in, Jay Leader was on that list.
They've all been on the list. They've all been on the list at one stage or other.
Though, if it's one of the players off my list from work, I do get a bit excited. I'm not going to lie. And maybe I've over-egged him. He's took a bit of banter about it. He gets battered on our group about it as well.
And if anyone comes in from Vine's, Tone don't shout at him. He tells Vine's to shout at him.
Yeah, if they're on my list, they belong to me, so I get the blame. So like Luke Carey, he's one of mine. Mitchell's one of mine.
Yeah, have a word of him, Joe.
Vine's have a word of him.
I
Talk to Mitchell.
I can't forgive Joe from the story of all stories. He wasn't at training one night. He said, "I've got someone coming down," and he trained, and then the players started having a go at me.
He was so bad. Yeah.
So
I like to give people a chance.
And then I've got one final question, and this one is from Stephen Daniels. I see him at every game. Which match of the season was your favourite and why, guys?
Oh,
Nothing.
Enfield away.
Well, the one where you threw the ice bucket.
Yeah.
That's the best footage from the season, definitely.
Yeah, I just think. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was really good games throughout the season. Worthing away was good. We've come up against it a few times, but purely the emotion of it. And I do get caught up in the emotion sometimes. Purely the emotion of it was Enfield away because, we played really well. We got our noses in front. Charlie Allen scored. Like we had everything was against us, which is sometimes when we're at our best. Don't get me wrong, but we'd had an argument in the car. Tone had said he wants to play Charlie Allen up front. I'd said no, that's a stupid idea. He vetoed me. No, I didn't say that. No, he just sort of said, well, JT's missus is having a baby. He's the top scorer in the league. He's a great striker. We was at a loss. What we're going to do? And I just assumed because
what did you do? What did you and Nate do in the car on the way there?
Well, we just laughed. Go on.
We was talking about it. And Tone went, "Let me throw it out to you boys." And Vinesy was like, "I went, Vinesy, text me. Let's see if we think about the same person."
Yeah.
We were. We both said Denty. And we
Denty in a false nine. Play without centre forwards.
Who was in the car going over, and then Vinesy was like, "Well, no J2, who's going up front?" I said, "I've got an idea." And then Neds were like, "All right, don't say it. We're going to text each other, see if we can guess it." And then they both picked Denty, and I said, "Charlie Allen, you should have seen the reaction in the car."
It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, the way that he explained it,
the changing room. I remember you said, "Yeah, Charlie Allen got up front," and everyone kind of went.
Well, Pritch was laughing, wasn't he? Pritch was, broke out.
He said, "Sorry. Are you joking?" Because he genuinely wanted to know. And then Charlie scores that worldie of a goal. I think that's my favourite goal of the season.
It's a great goal because everything that came with it. And then we went through that first half. We played really well, and then they scored 2 in quick succession, and we were sort of on the ropes a little bit because it was very undeserving. And then Tone put Palace on. He's only 17, and he came on and he did really well. He was on for 15 minutes, but he changed the game, the kid. And he got the man sent off, like he jinked inside and the guy took him out. And then we scored. And then we had this real late corner. And Jay Leader, they just didn't mark Jay Leader, which I thought was madness. And he just scored a really simple header. And we was getting dog abuse from their supporters. There was about 500-600 of them, and they was behind the dugout giving it. And so it was just unbelievable. And we thoroughly enjoyed that win. It was great. And that sort of got us back up and running again.
Yeah, that was a big result.
I think Charlie had 2 on the day, but I don't want to go on about it.
Yeah, he did. I didn't want to mention that.
I'd like to continue the call, but unfortunately we've got to jump off. But I think we should just do this again. If we ain't got football anytime soon, we'll jump on. I'll get some more questions from everyone, and then we just see how we go.
Yeah.
But,
Good
brilliant time, guys. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thanks, Oz.
See you later, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, chaps.